Good morning. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today's live stream. Today is December 26th, 2024, on a Thursday morning. So we had Christmas yesterday. Merry Christmas to you guys, and to those who celebrate Christmas, and to those who don't, happy holidays. Well, today is a day right after bank holidays, so I don't necessarily have a bias, and if I am looking at this based on the daily time frame, at least we have completed the daily objective for me. The daily objective coming into today was for us to take out the previous day high, and we took out previous day high during the London set or the Asian session, I believe. So after we accomplish a daily objective, I would want to go onto the lower time frames relative to the daily time frame. So like the 12-hour, 10-hour, 8-hour, or 4-hour time frame for an intraday bias. But coming into today, I would rely on the lower time frames for my bias, and I do want to point that out, the daily immediate rebalance. So daily balance, and this is what I'm trying to explain here with the daily immediate rebalance is that if prices are going to go trade lower, right? Will we trade lower to rebalance this inefficiency that we haven't yet created, or will we consolidate or expand higher and leave this daily fair value gap and create a daily fair value gap? But yeah, that's if we can get bearish price action. But as of right now, I would still wait about 13 more minutes left until the 4-hour candle closure and the 8-hour candle closure. But based on this 6-hour candle right now, right? Based on this 6-hour candle and this 4-hour candle, I am anticipating for us to take out that 6-hour candle and the 4-hour candle low. However, we don't have a model that aligns with that 4-hour and 6-hour order flow, right? So let's just say, if you guys have been with me for a while now, or just tuning into the live streams, you guys should have already kind of gotten a gist of how I view price action. So if I'm trading with the 6-hour and the 4-hour order flow, right? And keep in mind, I'm not trading with the daily bias here because the daily objective has already been completed. But the 6-hour candle and the 4-hour candle, they are both telling me that we should continue lower to attack to target at least the 4-hour candle low and the 6-hour candle low. However, based on the 4-hour order flow and the 6-hour order flow, I would have to go onto the 1-hour time frame for some sort of model, right? But none of these hourly candles suggest lower prices, right? So I'm just gonna wait until one of the until we create a bearish hourly candle or anything like that. But as of right now, I have no bias, and I don't trade the first 30 minutes of the day. One thing that I do want to note out is that from this swing high and to this swing low here during the morning, we have a dealing range, and within that dealing range, we create, or there is a premium and discount level, right? And notice how prices trades up into premium here. So for any selling to occur, we would generally want to sell above, or we want to be sellers in premium. So in this red box is where we want to be sellers at. And notice how prices dips, or not dips, but trades past that 50% level just a little bit, and then here we are having some sort of bearish price action, but we have to see continued price action for about another 10 minutes or so, for me to really, you know, confirm that we should be continuing lower. But as of right now, I'm just going to sit on my hands and wait until the 4-hour candle closure and the 8-hour candle closure at 10 a.m. But yeah, sorry for the late, start to the stream. I went to go thrifting this morning and I didn't get really fully set up until like 10 minutes ago. But yeah, as of right now, I'll just wait until we close here on the 4-hour candle closure. Until we close here on the 4-hour candle and the 8-hour candle for my, bias. And like I said before, the daily time frame, our objective has already been completed. We took out the daily high, so now after we take out daily high, that's when you kind of want to wait for more price action, and you want to wait until, or you can wait until for another daily candle closure, or you can go onto the lower time frames for some sort of bias, which is what I'm doing here. Alright, so based on this 8-hour candle right here, right? Let's just say that we close here right now. Let's just say this is where we close here on this 8-hour candle. If we close right here, right? Would we okay, let's say this. Is the blue line closer to the red line or the green line? In this case, is this blue line right here closer to the green line or the red line? And if you guys can see, the space or this blue line is closer to the red line. That gives me my bias already, right? That doesn't give me a trade. That doesn't necessarily mean that I should take a trade, but that kind of gives me a overall narrative, like, okay, because the blue line is relatively closer to the red line, we should take out the red line before we take out the green line. So we're going to, this could happen where we open up on the next 8-hour candle. We manipulate higher, trade into some sort of inefficiency, take out that red line, and after we take out the 8-hour low, I don't really care what we do. We can completely reverse, or we can continue to go trade lower. But that's how I kind of view bias, right? There's a little bit more aspects to that, but that's basically how I view price action. So I'm going to put the charts out here on my other screen here, just because I need to log into my trading platform. But yeah, depending on how the 4-hour candle closes and the 8-hour candle closes, that's how I'm going to determine my morning objective, right? So let's take a look at, oh wow. So we just completed the 6-hour objective. So like I said, that 6-hour low that was pointing at here, and that 4-hour low, we just completed that objective. I was kind of hoping that we wouldn't take out the objective and we kind of take it out at 10, but I mean, this could happen as well. But yeah, we take out the 4-hour low, 6-hour low. So now my next target here, if we are going to continue lower, is for us to trade back inside this 4-hour dealing range, right? So from this 4-hour swing low to this 4-hour swing high, there's a dealing range. And notice how we have yet traded back inside the equilibrium or the discount level, right? If we're going to be buyers, we want to be a buyer in premium, or I'm sorry, in discount. So prices has to trade into the discount level. And the discount level is, I'm going to make this red, or I'm sorry, I'm going to make this box green for discount. So green is discount here, and prices wants to trade into discount. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah, here is the daily range. Let me put this on the 4-hour time frame. There we go. Let's see how we took that. Interesting. Very interesting. Like, look at this. So remember that dealing range that I pointed out here on the hourly time frame? From that swing, from this swing high to this swing low, there's a dealing range. Prices trades into premium, sells, and continues lower. That's pretty algorithmic right there, if I say so myself. You see these patterns happening every single day, and it just gives you like that experience, like, okay, I see this happening a lot, and it just kind of confirms to me, like, okay, these concepts that I trade with, they occur all the time. And yeah, just seeing that just kind of gives me that confidence, that boost of conviction that, hey, like, if I just keep at it smart and efficiently, I will, you know, I'll reach where I want to be. I'll arrive where I need to be. And yeah, we just continue to watch here. Like I said before, I was kind of hoping that we wouldn't complete that 6-hour in the 4-hour objective, but it's reasonable for us to complete that objective right now. What time was there red folder news today? At 8:30 Eastern time. And yeah, it's reasonable for us to be moving this much during the morning session because we had our news driver here at 8:30 Eastern time. Okay, so today I do want to go over some of the positives and negatives here from last week. Some of the positives here from last week was that with every single trade that I took last week, I was able to establish a higher time frame objective, and on the lower time frames there was always some sort of displacement / fair value gap for my entry pattern, right? Some of the higher time frame objectives being, are we expanding towards existing liquidity? Are we generating liquidity? Are we rebalancing an inefficiency? Or are we retracing back into premium or discount? Those are some of the, the reasons why, or actually that is all 4 of the reasons why prices moves. And if you're able to at least have one of those checkpoints in your trade is more likely to occur, right? Why else should prices be continuing lower? Is there a reason why prices should be continuing lower, right? And if your reason is to rebalance inefficiency, then it's a reasonable objective to have. And displacement is the same thing as essentially, for there to be displacement, there must be fair value gaps. And for there to be fair value gaps, there must be displacement. So they go hand in hand. And displacement is, imagine displacement as an elephant inside a kid-sized swimming pool, right? So whenever an elephant or something large, right, gets dropped within this body of water, right, this container of water, and there's an elephant that gets dropped into it, the water, imagine the water as the order flow, the candlesticks, right? After an elephant gets dropped inside that tub, the water is going to seek a container that can hold, the water is going to overfill. So it's like suggesting like, hey, something is happening, something just happened within the markets that caused it to react this way. And fair value gaps are essentially telling us like, hey, we need to go somewhere fast and quick. And if you're not able to catch on to that, then you're gonna be just sitting on the sidelines, right? So displacement is the same thing. It's strength. There's something that's telling or that's controlling the markets like, hey, we gotta complete this thing like right now. That's why I require displacement, and that's why my entry pattern is a fair value gap. Second point, just staying patient and calm. So last week I did take a trade, and I ended up I didn't get stopped out, but well, I mean, I guess I did get stopped out. I got stopped because the daily candle is closing, and my brokerage doesn't allow you to trade past regular trading hours. So I was in profit. I got closed out with some profits, right? But then when the next day opened up, we eventually took out my objective, and I know the old me, I would have been fuming over this because like there was no reason for me to have left it. But now there's a reason, right? My idea for that trade was that we should complete this objective that I have in mind right now, right? Or within that time frame that I took my model on. If we don't complete the objective within that time frame that I took my model on, then it's reasonable for us or for me to be closed out of my trades, right? And I was pretty calm about it. I was pretty, it happens. And the third thing I guess here is on the trade of December 20th, and I believe that's this trade here. In these current conditions that you're seeing right now present, prices are rebalancing and inefficiency, and it appears that we should continue higher, right? There's this large fair value gap, and we should trade higher based on that large displacement. Well, the trade I have here in mind here is that even though we are in bullish conditions, I'm able to take a short because I'm able to understand what the current objective is. The current objective isn't for us to trade higher, but the current objective right now at this very moment is for us to rebalance this inefficiency, and that's what I have in mind. So I'm actually able to take a short within bullish conditions because I have an objective in mind and I'm following that draw of liquidity, right? I'm not taking a short to target previous week's low because that's unreasonable. That's not a reasonable place to have your targets. However, rebalancing this fair value gap, right, is like, it's not guaranteed, but it's what I am anticipating. So because I have a bias in mind, I'm able to take a model, and I did a recap over this, but yeah, just understand that prices are fractal. So even though the higher time frame, or like let's just say even though the 4-hour time frame here is suggesting higher prices, I'm able to take a short on the lower time frames because I understand what the current objective is, and your target should be reasonable. You shouldn't be targeting previous week's high based on 1 minute structure. There's no correlation there. Fourth is that I was able to follow my trade plan and rules. Once prices completes my objective, right, I always move my stops to break even because there's no reason for me to be risking anything else after the objective has been taken already. And just some negatives are excuse me, I disregarded the idea that ES and NQ were not trading in tandem with each other, right, on their respective time frames. So what I'm trying to say is, for example, ES has a bullish daily candle. If NQ has a bearish daily candle, that means the indices aren't trading in tandem with each other. That means there's some sort of manipulation occurring, and that you do not want to be in market conditions whenever they're both trading inversely. NQ and ES should always be trading the same, should be trading in the same direction. So if ES is bearish, NQ should be bearish, vice versa. Some of the improvements here from last week is that the models that I took, they were consistent. Every single model, it had a higher time frame objective, and there was always some sort of displacement, right, on my entry pattern time frame. And there's this idea called aligning the time frames, right? And essentially that's just making sure that you go from taking one step at a time. So for example, let's just say that I take a trade on, or the weekly model or the weekly order flow is suggesting for us to trade higher, right? If I have a bullish higher time frame order flow, I want to have on the weekly time frame, I want to be able to align myself with that bullish weekly order flow on the daily time frame. So weekly into the daily. You cannot go from the weekly onto the 5 minute, because that makes no sense, right? If you're imagining this as walking up a set of stairs, that second example of you skipping or going from the weekly order flow onto the 5 minute is essentially you taking 5 steps, right? You're jumping over 5 steps on a set of stairs, and this isn't what you want to do. Like, you're going to, it just doesn't correlate well. You should go from one step on a set of stairs to the next step, to the next step. Or it's like reading a book. You can't go from chapter 1 straight onto chapter 5. You're going to miss out on 4 chapters of information that you will need. Second, just pay close attention to my entry pattern. I always ask myself, like, is this fair value gap? Should this fair value gap be treated as a breakaway gap or a fair value gap that could be rebalanced? If it could be rebalanced, then that means I could use it as an entry pattern, but if it's not, then it should be treated as a breakaway gap. Fourth thing here, or third thing here at least, is back to the trading and the indices trading in oppositely, right? Or inversely. NQ and ES should always be trading in tandem with one another, right? And fourth thing is just waiting patiently and allowing the markets to come to you. There will be times when, you know, all you can really do is just sit on your hands, and you have to get just comfortable with that. There's no need for you to force anything onto the markets. Understand that you don't dictate where prices goes. If you were able to dictate where prices goes, I'm sure you would have been a billionaire right now. But you're not, and the only thing that you are able to control is how you react to those, results or situations, right? But going back to the live charts here, we did have I guess you could say bearish 8-hour candle closure, but I was kind of relying on the fact that we didn't complete the 6-hour and 4-hour objective. But because we already completed the 6-hour and 4-hour objective, I guess it's reasonable for us to create this 4-hour fair value gap that could be rebalanced. What I mean by that is, did prices close above this green line, or blue line, I'm sorry? Did prices close above this green line or close below it? And the answer is we closed above it. So the red line is above the blue line, and the red line is where we close on the third candle, and the blue line is where we created the low on the second candle. This idea here means that we should treat this 4 hour fair value gap as a gap that could be rebalanced. So taking any longs here would make no sense. It would make sense if you're targeting the 4 hour rebalance, but we have to see a bullish hourly candle with that model, with that order flow. And with that, I'm probably just gonna call it a day. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.